Hello everyone, welcome back to Simplify Studies. In this module, we are going to study about agriculture. The word agriculture is made up of two words, agar, which means field, and culture, which means art of cultivation. In short, the science of cultivating land to grow crops and rear livestock such as sheep, goat, cows, buffaloes, ducks, chickens, and also fish is called agriculture. Students, there are several factors like soil, climate, nature of the terrain, distance from the market that influence the agriculture of an area. We all know soil of a region determines the type of crops that can be grown there. For example, crops like rice and cotton grow very well in clayey soil. Other crops like wheat need a lot of drained soil. The fertility of the soil also affects the production of the crop. Rich alluvial soils give a high yield of crops. Soils low in fertility needs heavy inputs of fertilizers before they can give a good yield. The average temperature of a place and the amount of rainfall it gets are key factors in deciding the nature of crops grown in that area. Crops like wheat need a cool, dry growing period, while crops like rice need a hot, wet climate. Mountains and hilly areas are better for cultivation of certain crops like tea and coffee, which need well drained soils. Same way, distance from the market also matters. Farms producing perishable crops like vegetables and those rearing cattle for the dairy industry are usually located near cities and towns, as these products need to be consumed within a few days. Farms producing non-perishable crops like grains and millets need not to be located close to the market. India is the top producer of many crops in the world. A variety of food and non-food crops are grown in different parts of our country. Food crops of India like rice, wheat, pulses, maize, sugarcane, oilseeds, coffee, and horticulture crops are known as food crops. And non food crops are rubber, fiber, cotton, and jute. Now, let us talk about cropping seasons in India. There are two main cropping seasons in India. They are Kharif and Rabi. The term Kharif and Rabi are taken from Arabic language. The crops that are sown between June to July, that is at the beginning of the monsoon, and harvested between September to October come under Kharif crops. Example rice, jowar, sugarcane, maize, groundnut. Then we have Rabi crops. Crops that need cool climate during the growth period but warm climate during the germination of seed and maturation come under Rabi crops. These crops are sown between October to November and harvested between March to April. Example wheat, barley, mustard, gram, peas, they come under Rabi crops. We also have Zaid crops. Zaid is a short season during summer months between the Rabi and Kharif seasons. Important crops produced during Zaid are watermelon, muskmelon, cucumber, vegetables, and fodder crops. They are also known as summer crops. Now, let us talk about types of agriculture. Under this, the first one is shifting farming. This is one of the most primitive types of agriculture. It is usually practiced in heavily forested regions. Farmers prepare the field by burning down patches of forests. The ash from the burned trees add to the fertility of the soil. This patch of land is cultivated till it starts losing its fertility. The farmers then abandon this plot of land and clear another patch of land for cultivation. This form of farming is also called slash and burn agriculture. In India, it is practiced in the northeastern parts where it is known as joom cultivation. Next, we have subsistence farming. Subsistence farming is practiced on small plots of land with the farmer producing just enough crops to meet the needs of his family. Usually, there is not enough produce left for sale. The farmer uses simple tools like wooden plow for plowing the land and sickle for harvesting the crop. Then we have intensive farming. In this type of farming, the plots of land are small, but farmer uses fertilizers and high quality seeds to get maximum yield out of the small plot. Irrigation is also practiced where necessary. The surplus produce is sold for profit. Then we have extensive or the commercial farming. Extensive or commercial farming is characterized by huge farm sizes and large number of inputs like fertilizers, machinery, and irrigation. Crops are grown on a very large scale with the sole purpose of selling to earn profit. Next, we have plantation farming. Plantations are very large farms where usually only one crop is cultivated. Plantation farming is also commercial in nature where the produce is sold for profit. Plantations are common in tropical areas where the temperature and the annual rainfall are high. In addition to a huge investment of capital, they require highly skilled labor to work on the plantations. As it takes at least 3 to 4 years for the crops to mature, the plantation owner has to wait for a long time to earn profits on his investment. But profits, once they start coming in, are usually high. Common plantation crops are rubber, cotton, then coffee, tea, cocoa, then sugarcane, and oil palms. Next, we have types of crops. Farmers around the world grow a wide variety of crops. These can be divided into two groups. The first one is food crops. Crops produced for use as food are called food crops. They are grown either for use by the farmer or for sale. Food crops include rice, wheat, maize, millet, pulses, fruits, and vegetables. The second one is cash crop. Cash crops that are grown for sale in the market rather than for use by the people growing them are called cash crops. Jute, cotton, coffee, sugarcane, coconut, tea, cashews, rubber, all these are cash crops. Now, let us talk about agricultural development in India. Well, when India gained independence in 1947, the country was barely producing enough food to feed its people. The area under food crops and the yield per hectare were both very low, and famines and death due to starvation was common. Modern methods of farming like green revolution was introduced by the government, in which high quality seeds that could produce more crops were introduced. Use of fertilizers and pesticides came into existence. Modern machines such as tractors and harvesters were introduced. Irrigation method was also developed. As a result of the adoption of these modern methods of cultivation, there was a massive increase in food production in India. This came to be known as the Green Revolution. At present, the Government of India and several non-governmental organizations are using the power of internet to provide various kinds of services to the farmers. Today, several farmers in India are able to use computers and the internet to get the latest information on agriculture, such as new methods of cultivation and the best prices for their crops. And now, small farmers, instead of buying tractors and harvesters, they can rent them by using mobile apps. These facilities have improved the lives of thousands of farmers across India. Now, let us talk about livestock rearing in India. Livestock rearing or animal husbandry is the practice of raising animals on farms. Cattle, goats, sheep, hens, horses, and pigs are some of the animals raised in India. Animals are reared for products like milk, manure, fur, meat, leather, and so on. They are also used for transporting goods and people and to plough fields. Traditionally, people who raised livestock led difficult lives and were often exploited by big farmers and landowners. To strengthen their position these days, many dairy farmers have started forming cooperatives. These cooperatives help the dairy farmers to get best prices for their products. In India, Gujarat is famous for Amul, a cooperative dairy owned by dairy farmers. Today, India is one of the leading countries in the world with respect to both the total amount of land under agriculture and the agricultural output. It is also among the highest exporters of agriculture produce in the world. However, a lot still needs to be done to improve the condition of agriculture and the marginal farmers in India. In India, we believe a farmer is a magician who produces money from mud. On that positive note, I'd like to end today's session. Thank you, everyone.